Hi everyone, I'm Ashley with Cultural Creations, and tonight I'm going to show you how to make spaghetti mac. Now I know a lot of you all grew up on spaghetti mac, probably like I did, but my mom, she would make it from scratch with tomato sauce and all of the seasonings and everything. But tonight I'm going to show you how I make it with spaghetti sauce, the shortcut way to make it. So I already have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I have 3 ounces of ground beef in the pan, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me bring you all down here so you can see in the pan, so you can see me adding all the seasonings and everything. Okay. So like I said, we have 3 pounds of ground beef. I'm going to go ahead and break this up a little bit. I'm going to break this up a little bit, and then I'm going to start adding the seasonings. Here we go. I love to use a spatula so it can really get down there and break the meat up. And once it's kind of spread out in the pan, then I'll start adding the seasonings. I already have another pot over here warming up our water for our pasta. Okay, about like that. And I'm the seasoning queen. I love seasoning. So we're going to add all of my favorite seasonings. Probably some of y'all's favorite seasonings, because who doesn't love Lawry's? Okay, so I'm going to add some granulated onion powder. That's good right there. And then also some garlic powder. I buy these industrial size seasonings from Sam's because I cook quite a bit, and these go a long way. So if you cook quite a bit, it's well worth it to buy the large seasonings. Okay, now also garlic salt, time for the Lawry's, just enough, because there's also plenty of flavor in the Prego we're going to use, and also some seasoned salt. Okay, that's probably enough for now. We'll taste it later just to make sure. And also, last but not least, some black pepper. Alright, we're just going to mix that in real well. And the recipe doesn't call for it. If y'all missed the recipe, it's the one at the top link of the Facebook page. But the recipe doesn't call for it, but I'm also going to use some minced garlic. I'm just in the mood for that tonight. And I have this industrial size that I need to get down. I'm only like a third of the way through. So I'm going to use that as well. I'm just going to keep trying to mix it together as well as I can. And then we're going to add some onion and some bell pepper, because we need flavor. Okay, this meat is right out of the refrigerator, so it's a little stiff right now, but we'll get it. I don't like big chunks of spaghetti meat, so I kind of like to chop it up real well and do what works for you. Okay, let that cook together for just a few minutes. I'm going to go check on the water, show y'all the water over here that's boiling. I just have a large stainless steel pot that's filled with water, and once this water gets hot, I'm going to add some oil and to make sure the spaghetti doesn't stick, and some salt for flavor. and put the pasta right in there. And we're going to cook it until it's al dente. Okay, it's starting to heat up. Okay, you're going to put your, this is going to go into a casserole, Pyrex dish, and it's going to go into the oven. That's why you don't want to overcook your noodles. That's why we're only going to cook them al dente. Once they're done, we're going to remove them from the pot, put them right into a colander, and rinse them with cold water to immediately stop the cooking process. Okay, so let me show you all. We're going to add the onion and the bell pepper. Okay, we have plenty of onion and bell pepper here. You can add about a half a cup since this is so much meat. Half a cup of each. Oh, that's a lot of noise. I'm gonna get another spoon since that one's so noisy. Okay, and I'm gonna leave some onion to the side because I'm also gonna make some green beans. Okay, and make sure onion and your bell pepper in there. And by the time that your meat is brown, your bell pepper and your onion will be cooked cooked till it's softened as well. I love this large pan. It's perfect for dishes like this. I got this from, I think, Home Goods. This is like 73/27 beef, so it's going to have some residual oil. Once we're done cooking, all I'm going to do is drain the oil right off. I like to have meat with a little fat in it because you don't want your meat super dry. It doesn't matter how you cook it. If it doesn't have any oil from the beginning, it's just going to be dry in the end. Okay, now that I have everything mixed in real well, I'm just going to let it cook together. Let it sit and cook together. Let's clean up around the stove real quick. Okay. I'm going to show y'all the casserole dish that we're going to use. We're going to use a 3-quart casserole dish. Alright. A 3-quart casserole dish. This is a big dish, y'all. That's a lot of spaghetti, Matt. Perfect for those who have a large family, or if you're cooking this for guests and you have a lot of guests that are coming over to eat, right? But what about those? What about those of us who don't have a large family and we're not feeding guests and we just want this recipe? So what you can do is just split the recipe in half. Or something I like to do is like tonight, I have this recipe for dinner, and then tomorrow I have it for lunch. And then the next day I have it for dinner. So I'm not getting burnout on it. But I love leftovers, so, you know, it doesn't really bother me. Some people, they can't stand leftovers. So adjust it to how much you like to eat. And let's check on this. I think our water is ready for our pasta because it's kind of coming to a little boil. And our oven is preheated. So I'm going to go ahead and add the salt and the oil. I don't really measure, I just kind of, that's good for that amount of pasta. we're going to use this whole bag. So you want plenty of salt so the pasta will have flavor. And then I don't know, about a tablespoon of oil. It's just a trick I learned growing up to prevent the pasta from sticking. And it never fails. We're going to add the whole bag. And I think al dente is about 7 to 10 minutes. But a trick that I like to use is how I know the pasta is done is when it plumps up. These are large elbow noodles, so you'll definitely be able to tell once they start to plump. So give it a good stir. Because even though we put the oil in here, they already kind of try to stick together as soon as you pour them into the pot. Okay, and we're going to let them do their thing. Get back to the spaghetti. We're making this just like spaghetti, but we're going to add some cheese and turn this into a casserole. Our meat is already about halfway done cooking. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to let it sit again, and then I'm going to start working on the green beans that I'm going to have to go with this. Okay, I'm not making green beans from scratch tonight. There's a recipe on the blog for fresh green beans with some onion and some bacon. It's really good. But this is during the week, and I have work tomorrow, so we're doing canned green beans, and we're just going to spruce them up a little bit to give them a little pizzazz. So I'll show y'all how I do that. Let me get I'll come back and show you. Alright, y'all, so just a regular pot and some butter, country crock if you want that good flavor, and a plain old canned green beans. Alright, I'm pouring my green beans right into this pot. With all the juice. Okay. And then those onions that we didn't use for the casserole, I'm going to put those right in there. Give it that extra flavor. And I have some bell pepper. I'm going to go ahead and add those too, because those taste good as well. I can kind of see that. Just kind of put a couple of tablespoons in there. And then the bell pepper as well. Then I'm going to do some salt and some pepper. Sometimes I use garlic salt and seasoning salt. I'm just going to keep it simple today with some salt and pepper. Alright, then I'm going to put about a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to stop for a minute and go ahead and stir these noodles. the butter. Y'all, the butter is the trick. The onions and the bell pepper are the trick as well for the flavor, but you don't want to miss the butter. And look, if you like light butter, you know, that's fine. But regular country crock butter gives plain store-bought green beans the best flavor, in my opinion. I'm going to set that to the side because the casserole will go in the oven for about 20 minutes. So that's when I'll cook that. I'm going to put a lid on it and just let it cook. And so I like the green beans when they're like a little bit soft. All right, let's check on our meat again. Okay, I'm waiting on that to focus for y'all. Let me try to adjust it again. There we go. Y'all aren't as close, but you're focused now, so. Just keep breaking that meat down, depending on, just keep breaking that meat down. You don't want your pieces to be too thick with these noodles. It's not gonna blend well. Just like that. That's why I use a spatula. I don't know if you all can see that, but it's almost done. I'm just going to keep going at this point because I have quite a bit of chunks in here that I need to break down. Yeah, I'm too excited about this dish. Like I said, if you don't have a large family, if you're a large family, you can also tailor it. But it saves me a lot of time. For a couple of days, I don't have to worry about either lunch or dinner. I can fill in between with something else simple. And that's why I always cook so much at one time. And I almost forgot the minced garlic. Okay, let's add that. Okay, I'm going to add not quite a tablespoon. Okay. Mix that right in. And then this is probably about brown enough, so I'm going to break it down a little bit more, and then I'm going to go ahead and drain off the excess oil, and then we're going to add the spaghetti sauce. There we go. Let me bring y'all closer so y'all can see. Just like that. Let me grab a dish so I can transfer the oil, and then we'll go ahead and drain that. Let me check on the noodles. I'll show y'all that as well real quick. See, they're starting to plump up, but they're not there yet. Bring all over by the sink so you can see me drain the oil off of the meat. I'm just going to use this regular bowl because it can withstand that hot oil. That's what I was able to grab really quick. Y'all bear with me for a minute because this is hot and heavy. Strain all that oil and liquid right into that dish. Y'all don't want any of that in your meat, which I'm sure you already know, but you know. A little bit more. We're almost there. Okay, that should be good. That's almost a full bowl worth of oil. All right, we're gonna go back to the stove so we can put this together. Make sure there's no oil dripping off the bottom of the pan. Okay. We're going to use Prego spaghetti sauce flavored with meat. You can use traditional flavored with meat, but flavored with meat to me is the best. I'm going to pour a whole jar right in there. And we'll end up using probably about a jar and a half. I always start off with a jar just to gauge it and go from there. Turn this heat down just a little bit. You want your meat completely saturated with the sauce. Because, of course, you need enough sauce in here for the noodles to soak up the sauce as well and for the dish not to be dry. Okay, I'm country, y'all, so I'm going to add a little water in my jar first. And then I'm going to add the other Prego jar. And this helps loosen up the sauce as well. Shake it around, pour it right in. I don't like to waste anything. I grew up, look, everything goes in the freezer. You don't waste food if you're not going to eat it. You put it in the freezer, and it's just stuck with me. Okay. I think I'm going to add a little bit more sauce just to make sure we have plenty of sauce in here. Now I'm going to put the lid on this and I'm going to let it simmer while we get our noodles ready. Let me check on them really quick. Yep, they're about ready. I'm going to show y'all. So let me hurry up with the spaghetti. That's about right. I'm gonna let this simmer, and then I'll come back and do a taste test before removing this from the stove and putting it all together. All right, let me show y'all the noodles. Y'all see how plump those are now? That's how you know they're ready. Once they swell, they're ready to come out of the pot. So I already have my colander in the sink, so I'm going to bring them back over here. Bring y'all down just a little bit so you can see. Uh-oh. Ooh, that's hot. Hold on. Get my spoon so I can get the rest of the noodles from the bottom. Okay. Right into that colander. And like I said, immediately rinse it with cold water. I'm just going to stir a little bit just to make sure that the cold water gets all the way through the noodles. We definitely do not want this to be gummy. And that's what will happen if you overcook your noodles. That should be good. Alright, we're just going to let this sit. Get the casserole dish, y'all, and bring it over here. So it'll be ready when we start layering our dish. Let's come back and look at this spaghetti. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my green beans. Let's put a lid on those. All right. Mix it in. That looks good. Let's go ahead and do a taste now. And then I'm going to continue to let it simmer while I go ahead and transfer the pasta into the casserole dish. Let's get a spoon. I have one over here. Let's take a little test. Good. Plenty of seasoning. I'm going to let that continue to simmer, and let's go do the pasta. Bring it down so you can see the dish. Alright, there we go. So I'm only going to start off with adding so much pasta to the dish because we may not need all of it. We most likely won't need all of it. So I'm just going to put enough to cover the bottom to start. Alright, let me grab the cheese. We're using sharp cheddar cheese. We're going to use it inside and we're going to use some on top as well. Pour it right in. Mix it all around. Start folding it. And actually, let me go ahead and add some of the cheddar cheese before I start folding it. Okay. You don't need a ton of cheese inside. Just fold it just like that. Looks good and smells good. Y'all can decide if you like a lot of noodles or if you like a lot of meat. I like a lot of meat, so I like to add plenty of meat. This is pretty full, but I'm gonna add still have some meat and some noodles left. I'm gonna add a little bit more meat and a little bit more noodles, and then top it with cheese. We have about that much noodle left, not that much. And not that much meat left. If you want to add it all in here, it will fit. When I made this recipe last week, all of it fit. But I'm not going to fill it up too high today. And like I said, this is a 3-quart baking dish, casserole dish. I think it's important to fold and not get aggressive and stir and stuff like that, because I don't like my noodles to be broken up. Okay. Pat everything down, make it even. More cheese, of course, more cheese. I like to evenly spread the cheese on top. Just to the point where it's well covered. That bag is done, so let's add another bag of cheese. Just like so. Just keep spreading, spreading, spreading. And where I have little gaps, I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me bring you a little closer. Let's see how we can work this out. Okay. Where you have little bitty gaps, go ahead and just fill those in with cheese. Just like that. And this is regular cut cheese. This is not thinly shredded or anything like that. And that's it, y'all. I'm going to grab some foil so we can cover this and bake it in the oven. You just cover it regular. I've never had a problem with the cheese sticking to the foil so much where it was taking up all the cheese on my casserole. Alright, put this in the oven on 350 for 20 minutes. Alright, so casserole's in the oven. It's going to bake for 20 minutes. How you know that it's done is that the cheese is melted and it's bubbling on the sides. That's how you know it's done. Just take it out of the oven, take your foil off, let it cool for a minute, and you're good to go. I'm going to show y'all the green beans. They're not done yet, but I'm going to go ahead and show y'all the green beans, and then that'll be it. I appreciate y'all watching. And I will be sure to post the link to the recipe under the live. They're not done yet, but they're the green beans. Alright, I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you all enjoyed this recipe. Like I said, I'll post the link under the video, and I'll see y'all next time. We'll do another recipe in about 2 weeks live. So see y'all back here. Thanks. Bye.